One of the things
Yeah.
I've always admired you, Michael, is that over the years is that I've seen how you have kept evolving, and how you become who you are now, which is
Yeah.
kind of considered one of the best coaches in the world.
Yeah.
Is thanks to that, is how much you've continued to learn. So tell me, what did you what? Tell me about your journey from then onwards.
I didn't know I was still on one. Like at that time, it was like everything's great. This is great. Happily married, great kids, lots of money, good job, and Nina and I would have what I called our annual fight. So like we've been together. I mean, we're 25 years now, so I don't know what it would have been then, but a long time. But every now and again, we'd get into it about something because we're human. And a friend gave me a book to read called The Relationship Handbook, and I hate relationship books as a rule. Like, I think they're great if you wrote them, but I don't know how well they work for other people. But I read it, and I really liked it. There was nothing in it where I thought, oh, but there was a lot of things in it where I went, that's it. I've never thought about it like that before. I read it on a Monday. On the Friday, the friend who loaned it to me said, what did you think? I said, oh, it was great. He said, how are things with Nina? I said, great. He said, what about the fight? I said, what fight? He said, you guys were really arguing about, were we? I just got Bernardo, 2.5, 3 minutes. I couldn't remember. And then when I did, and that would have been one thing. We can do that with hypnosis, right?
Yeah.
But when I did remember, it still didn't seem like a big deal. And then when I talked to Nina about it, it still didn't seem like a big deal. Yeah, there was something we had to resolve. We resolved it. But it wasn't what I thought it was, like a big conflict. And so same thing as when I turned down the volume, I was like, oh, that's weird. I need to learn more about this. And I did the same thing. Now, there wasn't much resource then, but I called everyone I could. I mean, literally you had to write letters to people. I don't know if you remember, you used to do that. To reach them, call, and anyone who would talk to me, I had talked to me. I went up, I had them work with me, and I had a great moment in 2007 where Paul was very excited about this. He and I were talking about it because he could see that something was shifting in me. And he said, go find out what they do, because they kept saying, well, no, we don't really do anything. And we're like, oh, yeah, you do. You just don't know. So I went up to work with a couple of people, George Pransky, Dr. Keith Blevins, who sort of helped found the field. And I sat with them, and they didn't seem to be doing anything. Now, nothing seemed to be happening either, so I wasn't that impressed yet. Well, the second night I was up there, I was watching a DVD of Sid Banks, who's a Scottish welder who got enlightened and was sort of the philosopher behind what I do. And he just said something so simple that I'd heard before. But he said, every human being has innate mental health. And I was drinking a beer while he said it, and I, like out the nose. I don't know why, but I heard him. I got that was true even about me. And that was that moment I talked about at the beginning where I went, oh, I've spent all this time trying to not be depressed. And my second book, I was literally 10 days away from going out on tour to promote it, which was all about how to do stuff to handle your depression. And I suddenly saw beyond a shadow of a doubt, I was born happy. We were all, no, babies don't need therapy. We learn to be unhappy. And the truth is, the second we stop thinking the way that we've learned to think, we're right back to the default. That was both the best news I had ever had, because it meant I wasn't damaged and didn't need fixing. It was more like waking up from a dream. Like even if you have a nightmare, you don't have to go back after you wake up and fix what happened in it. I just woke up. And it was terrible because I was about to be on a book tour promoting something that I could now see was fundamentally incorrect. So I got through that. But I was never the same and my work was never the same because I could never look at somebody and see them as broken anymore. And I'd paid lip service to that. I mean, I'd said, oh yeah, you're not broken, you just have bad programming. But I hadn't seen how fundamental it was in me that I was broken and how fundamental it is in so many of us that, well, yeah, we can become higher and higher functioning, but underneath it all, it's still pretty turmoil, still pretty messed up. And I don't have a better word for it than blessing and grace. It was a blessing. It was grace to have that taken away from me, to see that that wasn't real. And what was beautiful about it was, because it didn't come through a particular religious practice, I was able to talk to anyone about it. You know, I didn't have to say, join this religion and then it will be taken off you. Because obviously we've heard stories like that. It was just through a deeper understanding of the mind. And I've just been committed to that work ever since. And the new book, The Inside Out Revolution, that's my first real attempt at going full out. Like Supercoach, I talked about what I'd learned from it, in a way. In this book, I've just shared what it is I saw. And I hope, well, I know actually, because it's already happening, that other people will get to have that same experience.